and on the stairs a sort of pale grey coconut matting. The window curtains were of soft cotton and were palely lavender. They had no damask richness, no gay flowery patterns. The walls were not papered, but distempered in clean, pale tints, and the general effect was rather like that of a very superior private hospital. The fact that the floors were washed every week with Sanitas gave a pleasing woodyard scent. There were no coloured pictures in the house, only brown copies of great paintings by Raphael and Velasquez and people like that. The Stanmore children lived here because their father and mother were in India and their other relations in New Zealand, all except old Uncle Charles, who was their mother's uncle, and who had quarrelled with, or been quarrelled with by, their father and mother in bygone years. The owners of the house, whose name was Sandal, were relations of some sort, cousins perhaps. Though they were called Uncle Percival and Aunt Emmeline, they were not really those relations. There was one thing about this so-called aunt and uncle. They were never cross and seldom unjust. Their natures seemed to be pale and calm like the colours of their house, and though the children had meat every day for dinner, Mr. and Miss Sandal never had anything but vegetables, and vegetables are said to be calming. Now, India is a highly coloured country, as you may have noticed in pictures, and the Stanmore children felt faded in that grey house, and that is why they loved colour so much, and made so much fuss about the leopard skin, and the Indian embroideries, and the marigold flowers, and the little old red book, and the wreath of gold forget-me-nots outside it, encircling the words language of flowers. "When Aunt Emmeline sees how beautiful it is, she'll want to have the whole house scarfed and leoparded, I shouldn't wonder," said Charlotte, hanging the pink scarf over a picture of a blind girl sitting on an orange, which is called Hope. "I don't suppose so," said Caroline. "I asked her once what old Uncle Charles's house was like, that Mother said was so beautiful, and she said it was far too full of things, and somewhat imperfectly ventilated." "It's a pity Uncle Charles was quarrelled with, I think," said Charlotte. "I shouldn't at all have minded going to stay with him. I expect really he likes nice little girls. I wonder what the row is all about, and why they didn't all kiss and be friends before the sun went down upon, like we're told to." "I cannot tell you what the row was about, for I know no more than you do, or than Charlotte did. And you must have noticed that grown-up people's quarrels are very large and most mysterious. When you quarrel with your brothers or sisters, it is always about some simple thing, as, for instance, who left your paintbrushes in the water, or who forgot your water-babies out in the hayfield, or whether it was you who upset the gum over your brother's map, or walked on the doll's house sofa that day when you all upset it scrapping and the furniture was put back in a hurry. Anyhow, your quarrels are soon over, because quarrelling is so uncomfortable, and besides, you have most likely been taught, as Charlotte had, that you must not let the sun go down upon your wrath. But with grown-up people it is different. They seem sometimes to have forgotten about the sun not going down, and their quarrels last on and on and on for weeks and months and years, till you would think that they must have forgotten what the fuss was all about. But they don't, and when Aunt Jane comes to tea, you will still hear fragments about how Uncle William behaved, and what a pity it was about Edward acting as he did. If the grown-ups notice you, they will tell you to run away and play. You will never hear what the quarrel was about, and if you did, you wouldn't understand. And if you understood, you'd probably think it was a silly fuss about nothing, and wonder how they could have kept it up all these years. For it is as likely as not that Uncle William did that unfortunate behaving of his many, many years ago, and that Edward acted in that extraordinary way long before you were born. The only thing you can find out for certain about these grown-up quarrels is that they